Like so many historic houses across the UK, Dean's Court is full of extraordinary treasures. There's always, a few really, really special treasures, and you obviously have that here at Dean's Court.
We do, and this is my favourite one in the house.
Is it?
It's a ring, if you want to take it out of its box.
Okay, fantastic.
So this is an Elizabethan ring from about the 1580s. The British Museum say they've got only one other example like this, which belonged to Mary Queen of Scots. So it's a very, very important piece in its own right.
Yes.
But what I love about it is that it went missing for 200 years. It was lost in the late 17th century, and it was dug up in the garden in 1867.
During an excavation of some point?
No, it was a gardener just working in the garden, and he dug it up, and rather naughtily, he took it into town and sold it to the jeweller. Anyway, the jeweller then sold it to a solicitor, and I think the solicitor recognised the arms, which are carved into that onyx bezel there.
Yes.
And very honourably, he brought it back to the family. And gave it
These
to
are
them.
your family arms right
Yeah,
now?
I think he paid £5 for it, for the jeweller, yes. These are the family arms, and they're quartered with another family called Long, who used to live at Perth Cornwall. But basically that dates it, we know, to the 1580s, and it was in the possession of Thomas Hannam, the lawyer, in the red robes in the drawing room. And he would have probably worn it around a chain under his garments.
Right.
But you'll notice, if you try it
fingers.
on, it's pretty small. Well, not for
Yes,
you. I couldn't get it onto mine.
But I mean, this is obviously I have
Yeah.
probably much smaller hands than he had.
Yeah.
Wonderful, what a treasure.
Yeah. But what I find really interesting is when it came back into the possession of the family, it was Amy Hannam,
Yes.
who we've talked about already, who was the lady of the house, and she took it to a clairvoyant in 1900. She waited a few years to do this. But this was when mysticism and mediums were very, very popular in this country. Everyone was getting very interested in connecting with the
Right, and Amy had
spirits.
lost her husband.
She had lost her
her
husband
husband?
some 30 years before.
Right,
Yeah.
he was murdered.
Yeah, that's right. So she took it to a medium. She didn't tell the medium anything about the ring whatsoever. And the medium rubbed the ring, and we know about this because Amy wrote the story up in this wonderful book, little booklet where she put in various stories about the family. But in the ring story, the medium said that she rubbed it in a certain way, and you had to rub it in a certain direction to arouse the magnetism of the ring. And she saw these images in her head, and she listed the images. The first one is of a lady in a place that looks like the Tower of London, dressed in dress of about the 1690s, secretly slipping the ring into the hand of a visiting gentleman. And then he rides off around the country with the ring, using it as a talisman to try and raise money. And then there's a scene in a courtroom with papers everywhere, and the ring is produced. And then the final one is of him riding a very long journey, very long distance, tying up his horse to a tree, falling asleep on the ground, and the ring slips off his finger and he's lost. So I don't know how we resonate that with it being dug up in the grounds here, but it seems to be very interesting because in 1690, one of my ancestors, a lady, was imprisoned in the Tower of London. And it's quite possible that money needed to be raised to get her out. And she was indeed eventually released.
And she was released.
Yeah, she was released. But in those days, you didn't get out if you couldn't raise money. But whatever you believe, it's a very beautiful object.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Special treasure.
Mm-hmm.
As I put on that beautiful ring, I felt transported to the Elizabethan era. Now, I'm time traveling 300 years to look at a Victorian treasure. I hope you are having as much fun watching these episodes of American Viscountess as I am making them. It is so important to bring history to life and to celebrate these wonderful places. But we need your help as we rely entirely on the support of our patrons who help cover the costs of production. Please do join our community of supporters by becoming a patron at patreon.com/American Viscountess. Here you'll get early access to all the episodes as well as a lot of other behind the scenes benefits. I really look forward to seeing you there.
This is a musical box dating from the 1860s. And it's one of a series called large format boxes, which were made by the Swiss. But you'll see here that it says inside Nicole Frère, Geneva and London. So what's interesting is the Swiss, of course, were always great at making movements, but for cabinet work and woodwork, the English were absolutely leading the world at the time. So they obviously established themselves in both countries because the English were, were buying a lot of clocks and selling a lot of them as well.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is a sort of the musical box of this format with the drum and the pins and the sort of comb. Came in really earlier in the 19th century, but was really at its apogee at this stage here in the 1860s, 1870s. And then you got the flat discs that came in, and which were easier to use because you could change them. But I just love this because I love the tone and the quality. And you've got all the little gadgets, so you can repeat the last tune,
and
you can change.
This is still workable. This is
working.
Yes,
yeah.
So before I assume you're going to play something for me.
I'm going to switch it on, yeah.
So in the 1860s, when this was obviously built and arrived, where would this be in the country house?
I suspect it may have been down in one of the drawing rooms.
Right.
Or, one of the reception rooms.
One of the drawing
definitely.
rooms, right.
Yeah. Mm.
And I've noticed also here you've got these overtures here. So you've got obviously Mozart, you've got Rossini, you've got Weber, and is this all it would play?
But you have a choice.
Ah.
And a bit like a CD-ROM, you've got a little knob here that says change, and by slightly shifting the drum, you can switch to another track halfway through. I'm afraid that little function needs to be isn't working well at the moment, but you can switch it on and off, and you can adjust the speed here at which the thing plays. And this was your only access to recorded music, if you like. It was either this or a quartet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this would have been quite an extravagant piece of, furniture, if you like, or would you accessory?
Accessory, yeah. It's almost like a timepiece. It sort of fits into, the expensive clocks sort of area. But this would have been extremely expensive. And the machining and the construction of the movement in particular is just beautiful.
Wonderful.
And I just love the action of the wind-up. Do you want to have a try?
Yes, yes.
You just pull that handle towards you.
So I'm going to pull this towards
and
me.
you'll just feel the beautiful action in that.
Ooh.
It's got a strong spring.
Yes! And then what do I do next?
That's it, pop it back.
I'll pop it back.
And then it's ready to go if you want to.
And then you just need to do that once.
No, I've done it. I've given
it a few already. Oh, right. That's really easy.
But if you want to hit play.
Okay, brilliant. It's sensational. The detail and really the precision. That went into this.
Yeah.
This is real craftsman. It almost, in one sense, you just think, gosh, it's too bad we can't have this anymore, if you like.
It would have been an absolute wonder for people sitting around in a drawing room in the 1860s to listen to something like this.
Absolute wonder. Mm-hmm. Incredible. You can just see the needles, in one sense, moving up and down.
Yeah. And what's so amazing is that you've got 5 arias, but they're all there in the pins.
Right.
So
the precision, and you're right, the engineering that had to go into this to really. First of all, it sounds beautiful as well.
Actually, it really is.
It really does sound beautiful.
It's not like a tinny little musical box.
No. But how wonderful to have such a treasure, not only in your house, but playing in your house.
Yeah,
it's something that you can not only see, but you can hear, and that's what makes it so absolutely superb.
Yeah, I love it.